of this session, Dr. Anit Kumar Kar has already joined this platform. So we are going to start the session. But before that, I would like to have a brief introduction of Dr. Kara. So Dr. Kara is basically a field engineer from Water Resources Department of Government of Odisha, where he has worked for 25 years and 6 months in many capacities. Later on, during December 2016, he has shifted to teaching and in the course of time joined VSUT Burla as an associate professor and teaching different subjects in graduation and post-graduation levels. He has completed his MTech and PhD from Department of Hydrology, IIT Roorkee. His specialization is around the core hydrology sectors like water availability studies, flood modeling, urban flood studies, low flow analysis, stochastic hydrology, application of soft computing techniques, remote sensing, and GIS. He has number of research publications in reputed journals like ASC, Elsevier, Taylor, and Francis, InterScience, and scientific research publishing as well as national and international conferences. So, with this short introduction, I would now like to request Dr. Kara to start his presentation.
So thank you, sir. Respected Manoranjan Bhai and other teachers, faculty members, those who are present here, and students, if any, they are present. So in the 2 days morning, we are going to start this topic, very sensible topic, I can say, that is on the base that the name is fraud, hazard, and vulnerability. Rightly, Manoranjan Bhai has spoke about me that basically I'm a field engineer, and later on last 5 years I am working as in the teaching profession, and my core time was within this fraud control room, because I have passed my 5 years in that fraud control room, and during my tenure I have seen the cyclones like Phylin and Hudhud. And earlier also during Super Cyclone 1999, I was also engaged in the Department of Water Resources as an active field engineer, where I have really visualized the wrath of a super cyclone, you can say. So Odisha is one of the most vulnerable state in the ground, on the ground, where you can say that flood, cyclone, and similar type of hazards are there. So it is natural and obvious also we should be learning about this flood, hazard, and vulnerability. And by this time, I was watching your syllabus, a routine, where I have seen that so much things are also already other speakers have discussed about hazard and vulnerability. But with respect to this flood, let us see what is this disaster, which is mostly prone to few of the coastal districts, and particularly riverine states like Odisha, West Bengal, where this is a usual phenomena, and how these things are really occurring. Generally, you can say that this is one of the most frequent type of natural disaster, and main reason may be the heavy rainfall, or in other places that is rapid snow melt, or a storm surge from a tropical cyclone or tsunami in coastal areas. So I shall be coming nowadays how the definition of the flood, definition, the occurrence and the agency are changing. So that I shall be discussing how these things are happening. So flood is an extreme hydrological event. Flood, you can say that is one of the extreme hydrological event, because that the main reason behind this flood is the extreme rainfall. Extreme rainfall and flood happen when soil and vegetation cannot absorb sufficient water from the downpours. That means most of the water what we are getting, that may be absorbed as a loss, most of the water. And because if you people are acquainted with this runoff coefficient, you can say the runoff coefficient in the month of May, in the month of June and July, August, September, October, these things varies because the amount of runoff that is being produced of a rainfall differs from month to month, and depends upon the kind of vegetation you are having over the soil surface, as well as the existing soil moisture condition. That really matters how much loss will going to take place. And floods also occur when a river outbursts its banks and water spills onto the floodbed. That means breaching of the embankment. Breaching of the embankment is an issue. And besides that, hurricanes, weather systems, snow melt, these are also issues. Earthquake also, that may be earthquake induced. That means tsunami induced coastal surges, and that is due to the main reason due to earthquake and high tides that during the pull of the moon. These are some of the causes. Also, there are many human-induced causes also. Human-induced causes. Most of the time, the mischiefs, human mischiefs are also there, and that may be one of the reason for this flooding. And basically, if I can elaborate to you that what are the types of the floods, in that case, I can say one is flash flood, one is coastal flood, one is urban flood, another is fluvial flood, yeah, river flood, another is ponding or pluvial ponding. But the main thing is that flash flood, coastal flood, urban flood, these are different type of floods. And particularly the basic of the flood is divided into fluvial and pluvial. Fluvial flood is mostly related to river concern part, where there is a outflowing, spilling of the water from the embankment, more water being released through river, and there is the embankment breach. So, like these kind of floods are due to the river floods, and if the water is not released to the sea at proper time, then maybe there may be water logging at the deltaic area. These are also some of the possibilities. And another is ponding or pluvial flooding. Pluvial flooding is occurring due to the heavy rainfall. That means heavy rainfall due to an in a particularly local area, intense precipitation, and that may be occurring at a local pocket. In that way, the flood resulting out of that is known as pluvial flooding. So pluvial flooding, even if nowadays fluvial flooding, that means river flooding are a bit reduced now, because there are number of structures, number of measures we are taking. That's why the pluvial flooding, the intensity of the pluvial flooding are reduced. But what is increasing the pluvial flooding? That means urban flood is a major issue, because the urban flood, or you can say the even there is a heavy precipitation, intensity of precipitation, and that is occurring on a local pocket, and particularly in Uttarakhand area, in the Himachal area, we generally see a cloudburst where a local pocket is largely getting affected. So these are some of the types of the floods. And flash flood, particularly, if I am considering this flash flood means it is also one of the affair in the hilly terrains, where really the time to peak, when the time to peak of a hydrograph that becomes less than 6 hours, then that kind of flood we generally call that flash flood. And coastal flood particularly, and this flash flood is a natural phenomena. And because I have earlier worked in the Koraput area, and particularly Bandhugan and Patna area, very close to Andhra Pradesh, Parvatipuram, that part also I have seen in the Jhanjavati river, and particularly some tributaries of Jhanjavati river, this flash flood was there. And in Malkanagiri area also, these kind of flash floods are there in case of Odisha. But in other parts also, in Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh, these kind of flash floods are there, because there will be heavy intense rainfall, and immediately this flood will come, and you have to wait. And perhaps you might have seen so many YouTube videos are there where a person is crossing the causeway over the road, and a flood is washing him out, and buses or tractors are being washed out. Please watch from the YouTube video. You can see the fury of these flash floods. And coastal floods particularly, coastal floods nowadays, what is happening? There is the cyclone related floods are there, and where there is a huge storm surge that is coming inside the coastal area. And this depth of this inundation, this storm surge, in the if you have aware, if you are aware of the super cyclone, then one can say that the storm surge of 10 meter, that means 30 feet of water has entered. The height of water was 30 feet, and that water entered into the landmass. And that's why the biggest disaster has occurred in the Paradip area. And in particularly the Phylin, during Phylin, the storm surge height was 3 meter. 3 meter means 10 feet. So 10 feet of water, that means one floor building. And in case of super cyclone, that is a 3-floor building. And this kind of depth of water has entered into the landmass. That's why a big disaster has occurred. And urban floods, usually you are watching because of this congestion, this increase of impervious parts in the city, and so much of infrastructure are being developed. That's why the impervious area is being increased, so that the losses from the rainfall are getting reduced. And the reason of occurrence of high intense rainfalls, that really relates to a urban flooding. Nowadays, so many drain chokings are there, so many other issues are there, which is leading to urban floods. And last year, perhaps one student was washed away from this urban flood in the drain in the heart of the Bhubaneswar city, in Satabdi Nagar. So these kind of things, and particularly in Bhubaneswar city, there's, although it is a very good smart city and other things are there, but in spite of that, this kind of urban flood and its related hazards are also there. So while coming to this hazard and vulnerability, so these are some of the parts where we can say that some of the types of the floods where we can say that we are exposed to different kind of hazards from these type of floods. Although the rate and degree are different, but the things are there. The moment it is flood, that means somewhat unregulated way of unregulated flow of the water. That's not regulated, no rule, nothing is there. So in that case, these kind of hazard and vulnerabilities of the particular this kind of agencies like will be there. So let us discuss it one by one. So fraud is caused by this excessive rainfall in a short period of time, and we have discussed that it is less than 6 hours. If the time to peak will be less than 6 hours, you see this is one of the photograph of this flash flood, and this may be this part may be a causeway or a low lying pass. So you have to wait for certain moment, because these kind of flash floods, although the rainfalls etc. will be there, but the immediately water will be passed through it. And in some consultancy work, I have seen that in the J&K area, some defense related works are there, where really we have seen that the time to peak was limited to less than even 20 minutes. You see that how a catchment is behaving. That means the time to peak is 20 minutes. That's when just with the onset of the rain is even continuing, the flash flood will be there. That means the peak value will be here. So within 20 minutes or less than that. So how it will be possible? Because you have to wait for certain moment. It doesn't matter. It may not go to much height, and these things will also not continue for 1 day or 2 days. So please wait during this flash flood, because the current is so heavy, it can take away your vehicle. So, and so that your life will be in danger. So please take care when you are facing these kind of things. So please wait for certain moment in order to allow the peak to pass, and as well as other even the depth which is manageable by you. Please take that route. Otherwise, it is not advisable to cross the pass during this kind of flash flood. So this is the river flooding. That is means I was telling you about the fluvial floods. So these are the reason, the rainfall and the this normal river level and overflowing of the river, and the moment overflowing or embankment breaching is occurring, then you see that how the nearby area is getting endangered. That means there is inundation in these areas. in these areas. And if there will be embankment breaching of the embankment, and the current will be high, in that case, these structures will be damaged definitely. And structures will be damaged along with the life of animal, life of human being. These will be affected. Huge loss of life and property will be there. So we have to be remain careful for this fluvial type of flooding. And this typhoon and other things are there, rising of the sea level, that due to the cyclones and etc. The water is rising up to this level, this normal land level. And if the water will be high, definitely what will happen? The water will enter into the landmass. And that is the reason why these kind of storm surges are there, and we have to remain very careful. And as well as due to the global warming, also the sea level is also rising. And the direct impact of this sea level rising will be the low-lying areas which are there earlier, the islands or etc. These will be drowned. This will be down. So these islands are really, these are balancing our nature, as well as also remains a source of income. And if with the rise of this sea level, that means due to the snow melt, the river, the sea level is rising. And you can see a number of papers are there where it is the researchers have found that within 10 years this much of height will increase. So due to the climate change and global warming, these kind of effects, this sea level will rise, and it particularly inundate the low-lying areas. And those who are in upper highlands, they may be safe for a moment, but it is not good that our low-lying areas will be inundated. So this is one of the image of the fluvial flooding, where the rainwater remains the main reason. During this time, the river may remain dry. Not necessarily the river has to flow, but if the river is flowing and you are also facing this fluvial flooding, then it is a bonus. That means you will be mostly affected. So this kind of thing, particularly because in the month of July, in the month of August or September, if we are facing this kind of a heavy rainfall, and if nowadays it is also possible that in the month of November, the cities like Chennai also, they are also getting flooded. So not necessarily you have to wait for a monsoon period, because other months also these things may be possible, because we are unable to release most of the flood water, most of the this rainwater into the drain in a sizable manner. We are unable to release, and so many constructions are there. The drains are being choked, and so many obstacles are also there on the way of drains. So this kind of fluvial flooding are also a common phenomena in big cities. And this is the diagram I have shown, that this is the perhaps we in most of the cases you are nowadays you are watching that number of these type of cyclonic cases are there, and particularly in Odisha coast recently also this so many things every year, perhaps now by this time 2 3 cyclones are coming usually. But this is the diagram of this the Phylline cyclone during 2013. And you see, this is the track of this cyclone, and this balloon-like a structure is just it is showing the influence area. And the tracks are governed and being tracked since a very long time. That means 5 days, 6 days ahead. You see that 8 to 14 October, and the moment and the situation has occurred in 12th October. So the scenario started, and we have the information by taking the information of IMD. These tracks are there, and these tracks show that really how the cyclone will travel. And accordingly, because these cyclones are mostly associated with heavy wind as well as heavy rainfall. So not necessarily, you see, October is the end of monsoon season, you can say end of monsoon season. Why I am showing this thing? Because during up to this October, the state government of Odisha, and maybe in other states also, where the system is that we are waiting our reservoir to get filled by end of this monsoon season. That means we generally think that by October 31st, our reservoir should be filled. because we are relying on the monsoon water. No other sources are there, no snow melting and other things. In case of Odisha particularly, I am telling me because we are not waiting for any other sources. And that's why we generally rely on the monsoon. And it is very good that we are getting the Odisha state is getting around 1450 mm of rainfall during this monsoon period, whereas the Indian average is around 1120 mm. And the states like Rajasthan is there, which is getting around 450 to 600 mm, whereas the Assam, Meghalaya, they are getting 20,000 mm. So there is a wide variation of the rainfall. So fortunate that Odisha is getting the right amount of rainfall. That means it is not low like Rajasthan or not very high like Meghalaya or Assam, Guwahati and other northeastern states. So it is very good. But what is happening during the because most of the rainfall what Odisha is getting, that is mostly monsoon driven. Monsoon driven. That means very small. That means depressions will be there. These depressions will allow the rainfall to continue, and that's why we are getting the storm like 2 day storm, 3 day storm like that. But when it is associated with cyclones like very severe cyclonic storm like Phylline and Hudhud, then what is happening because of due to the wind, due to the heavy wind, it is very difficult to take the relief measures, immediate relief measures, because you are going out of your home when the wind will be stopped. Even it is the persons which are from NDMA, National Disaster Management Authority, or you can say our ODRAF team is there, OSTMA is there, Orissa State Disaster Management Authority, ODRAF, Orissa Disaster Risk that risk force, that ODRAF team is there. So NDRF team is there. So they are also human being. And when the rainfall wind is continuing, it is very difficult to go out. So that's why the rainfall as well during cyclone, what is happening? Because very heavy rainfall is also the heavy wind as well as heavy rainfall is there. So the matter when these two cases, these two impacts are mixed, then the impact remains very heavy on the human being as well as the other lives of the domestic animals. So inundation will be there. The breaking of the trees are there, uprooting of the trees, electric poles, and so many road blocking will be there. So these things will be there. So we are exposed to multiple hazards. So during this type of things, we have to also carry out our operation measures in a different way, because you have seen that because in during super cyclone we have lost many things, many lives, many properties. These are lost. But in Thailand, what the government suggested that there should be zero casualty. That means we have to take so stringent measure. That means beginning from evacuation, so much announcement is there, warning is there, so many relief measures and other things are being taken, steps being taken. And because I was also actively involved in that, I have seen that number of stringent measures have been taken by the state government. That's why the announcement that zero casualty was really achieved, and Odisha standard applauded by many agencies, and after all, Odisha also got award for this kind of taking these preventive measures. And the system is now so strong that when a cyclone is coming, so many things are parallelly going on. And because we are having flood shelters, flood risk centers are there, and people are taking shelters at those places, at highlands, and the evacuation process, these are continuing on a parallel way. So these things, when the storm is coming, because we are associated with this kind of area, this balloon type of structure is there, so we know that this area is mostly vulnerable. So we are taking that kind of steps, the measures are being taken, and along with the track, because these tracks are having nodes, and these nodes are really, these are informed much earlier. So one is aware that this kind of wind is coming along with this cyclone, as well as the IMD also says QPF. One is quantitative precipitation forecast. This quantitative precipitation forecast, where they tell about the how much rainfall is also coming with this kind of cyclone, and what is its interval. That means the forecasting is 3 days, 4 days ahead. That means you are aware. You are aware of the situation and how the things changing. You see, there are number of balloons are there. This is a balloon. This is a balloon. This is a balloon, and this is the ultimate balloon. That means at the last stage, at the ultimate stage, or 12th or 13th October, what is the status? What is the start? The moment it has entered into the landmass, then that means the landfall has occurred. Then what is the status? Which area is getting affected? So before landfall, the rain, the clouds, if you watch TV at the right moment, you can see that you might have seen that there is a cloud covering at the coastal areas. These clouds are also causing rainfall. And gradually, when it is going up, the upper area is also getting affected, and the water will flow to the downstream. So these are also the case of Fani, and Fani has occurred on a different date, that is in the month of May, May 3rd, 2019, and this is the storm event of 30th April 2019. This is the starter because during this April, May, these are hot days, and a cyclone occurred on those days. That is 3rd May. So that is a different case, and this cyclone has gone, and this has just touched Odisha, and then it has gone up to the West Bengal side. But the thing is that although there is no such big flurry of flood, but the wind was there. And that has occurred in a different month, that is May. Had it been an issue during monsoon, it may be telling another story, but it has occurred in the month of May. You see the track of the 1st May, how the track has changed and it has come more inside. And this and the 2nd May, what has happened? And these round shapes are there. These round shapes are nothing but my ISO heights. These ISO height says that what is the standard of the rainfall and does occurred in which part of the area. That is mostly this Khordha, Puri, and the coastal districts are mostly affected, and these are the cyclonic parts, and this and the way this cyclone has crossed, and we are coming to the